I pull into the familiar driveway, tires crunching over fallen leaves that carpet my parents' century-old oak-lined path. Golden autumn light streams through the branches, painting dappled patterns across the windshield. The apple pie rests on my passenger seat, still warm, the cinnamon and nutmeg scent filling my car with memories. This drive to Cedar Falls I've made hundreds of times, but today feels different, something in the air, perhaps. Or maybe just my accountant's brain overthinking again. My mother's voice on the phone last night had that forced cheerfulness that never quite reaches her eyes when I see her in person. "Thanksgiving at 2, don't forget the pie," she'd said, as if I'd forgotten in 35 years. I gather the pie in one hand, my purse in the other, and make my way up the worn brick path. The front door opens before I reach it. Dad stands there, arms crossed over his chest, his usual welcome smile nowhere to be found. "Dad?" The word comes out smaller than I intend. His jaw tightens. "Taryn." Just my name. No hug. No, "How was the drive?" I step into the foyer, the familiar scent of furniture polish and holiday cooking wrapping around me even as my father's coldness pushes me away. "Return the $62,000 you took from your mother or don't come back." The words hang in the air between us. My fingers loosen around the pie plate. For a horrifying second, I think I might drop it. "What?" I manage to whisper. "You heard me." His voice never rises, which somehow makes it worse. "We know what you did." I look past him into the living room. Mom sits perched on the edge of the sofa, staring down at her folded hands. Her shoulders curl inward, making her look smaller than her 5'4" frame. She doesn't look up. Marla stands by the fireplace, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. The calculated precision of her movements betrays the performance. My sister has never shed a genuine tear in her life without an audience. Corbin leans against the far wall, his face a mask of disappointment that doesn't quite reach his eyes. They look satisfied. Like he's watching the final scene of a play he's been rehearsing for weeks. "I don't understand," I say, my voice steadier now. The initial shock gives way to confusion, then a slow burning spark of anger. "What money?" "Your mother's retirement account." Dad steps closer. 5 weeks ago, 3 separate withdrawals, all after you set up her online banking. The memory flashes in my mind. Mom at her kitchen table, peering through reading glasses as I showed her how to check her balance online. Her trust as I patiently explained digital statements. The yellow sticky note where she wrote her password, which she tucked into the unlocked kitchen drawer despite my warnings. "I never took any money." My voice sounds distant to my own ears. "The transfer started the day after you set up her account." Dad's words slice through the air. $62,000, gone.
No one speaks in my defense. Not Mom, who I've called every Sunday for 15 years without fail. Not Marla, who I helped move 4 times when her relationships imploded. Not Corbin, whose college tuition I helped pay when Dad lost his job. A unified front against me. I step toward the kitchen, my movements deliberate. The pie feels heavier with each step. I place it carefully on the counter, next to Mom's collection of ceramic roosters. My hands tremble slightly, but I refuse to let them see. "I didn't take your money." Each word precise and measured. "Then how do you explain the withdrawals?" Dad demands. "I don't. Not yet." My forensic accountant's mind is already cataloging questions, inconsistencies, data points to investigate. But I won't defend myself while they stand in judgment, having already decided my guilt. I turn toward the door, my spine straightening with each step. My car keys dig into my palm as I clutch them, the pain a welcome distraction from the betrayal crushing my chest. At the doorway, I pause. Look back at my family tableau, Dad's rigid posture, Mom's averted gaze, Marla's performative grief, Corbin's satisfied smirk. When you're ready to ask me what happened instead of accusing me, you know my number. The door closes behind me with a soft click that echoes with finality. In my car, hands gripping the steering wheel, I finally allow myself to breathe. The full weight of what just happened presses against my ribs. My own parents believe I stole from them. As I back out of the driveway, the sun catches the living room window. For a brief moment, I see my mother's face watching me leave, her expression unreadable through the glare. The memory of us, just 5 weeks ago, surfaces again, her kitchen bathed in afternoon light, her trust as I guided her through the unfamiliar digital banking world, her gratitude as she mastered each step. "You've always been so good with numbers," she'd said, squeezing my hand. "I don't know what I'd do without you." The words that once warmed me now curdle in my stomach. What happened in those 5 weeks to shatter 35 years of trust? I turn onto the main road, leaving behind the house where I grew up, the family who just broke my heart, and the apple pie that will grow cold on the counter. Someone has stolen more than money today, and I intend to find out who.
Later that night, the Best Western sign flickers in the growing twilight, casting alternating shadows across the dashboard of my car. Room 118. Ground floor, far end, perfect. No one to hear me if I finally break down. I wheel my overnight bag, always packed in the trunk for client emergencies, across the cracked asphalt. The motel office smells of pine-scented cleaner and microwave popcorn. The clerk barely glances up from her paperback romance novel. "Just you tonight?" She stamps my registration card. "Just me." The words catch in my throat. My room greets me with industrial beige carpeting and a bedspread in faded harvest gold that hasn't been updated since the Reagan administration. A plastic wreath hangs crookedly on the bathroom door, its tinsel garland shedding silver flecks onto the carpet. I set my bag on the luggage rack and stand motionless in the center of the room. The heater clicks on, blasting stale air that stirs the curtains. Outside, a family unloads presents from their SUV, laughter floating through the thin walls. The composure I've maintained since leaving my parents' house begins to crack. My breath comes in short, shallow bursts. I press my palms against my eyes until stars appear in the darkness. $62,000. I say the words aloud, testing their weight. The accusation hangs in the air, absurd and cutting. I sink onto the edge of the bed. For 30 minutes I simply breathe, staring at the wall where someone has thumbtacked a print of autumn leaves over a water stain. My mind catalogs each moment from the confrontation, storing details like evidence tags. Dad's certainty, Mom's avoidance, Marla's performance, Corbin's satisfaction. Something doesn't add up. I grab the notepad from the nightstand and begin to write, my accountant's precision taking over. Transaction dates, account access points, my timeline with my mother at the bank. Who else had access? What records would exist? The fog of betrayal lifts slightly as I scrawl names and questions. By midnight, the pad contains a roadmap of investigation, with arrows connecting possibilities. 3 withdrawals, 5 weeks, $62,000. My professional training snaps into focus. I am no longer just a wounded daughter. I am a forensic accountant with 15 years of experience uncovering financial deceptions. The alarm buzzes at 6 a.m. I've slept in my clothes, notepad still clutched in my hand. The morning light reveals fresh determination in my reflection. I smooth my rumpled blouse and dial my firm. James Riley's office. "Melissa, it's Taryn Denham. I need to speak with James urgently." 3 minutes later, my manager's voice comes through the line. "Taryn? Thought you were taking holiday time." "Family emergency." I keep my voice steady. "James, I need a professional favor. A significant one." The silence stretches before he answers. "What kind of favor?" "I need to access some banking records, and I'd like to work with Sarah from fraud investigation." "Sarah Winters?" His voice sharpens with curiosity. "Taryn, what's this about?" "Someone stole $62,000 from my mother's retirement account. My family believes it was me." Another pause. "Jesus, Taryn. I need to clear my name. More importantly, I need to find out who actually did this." "You understand there are protocols." "I've never asked for special treatment in 9 years with the firm. I'm asking now." By noon, Sarah Winters and I are reviewing digital records from Pineway Mutual Bank at the office. Her reputation for ruthless precision is well earned as she navigates the permission protocols with surgical efficiency. First transaction was the 1st of November. $20,000. Sarah points to the screen. In-person withdrawal, not digital. That can't be right. I set up her online banking on the 28th of October. Sarah scrolls through the records. Second withdrawal, the 8th of November, $15,000. Third, the 15th of November, $27,000. All in person with signature verification. My stomach tightens. Can we access the signature cards? The bank manager, a balding man named Harris with nervous hands, slides the signature comparisons across his desk. Miss Denham, normally this would require a warrant, but considering your professional standing and the unusual circumstances, the signatures aren't mine. They aren't even good forgeries of mine. Security footage? I ask. Harris hesitates. We only keep 30 days. That's all we need. Sarah's tone brooks no argument. The footage appears on his monitor. First transaction. A woman in oversized sunglasses at the teller window, dark hair pulled back. Marla's distinctive gesture of tucking hair behind her right ear. Second transaction. The same woman, different blouse. Third transaction. Corbin. No disguise. Casual confidence as he signs the withdrawal slip. Stop. My voice sounds strange to my own ears. Enlarge that frame. The image pixelates but remains clear enough. My brother, withdrawing money from our mother's account. The date stamp matches perfectly. The first online login, Sarah murmurs, checking her tablet. The 29th of October at 8:42 p.m. IP address matches your parents' home Wi-Fi. The truth solidifies in the air between us. My siblings stole from our mother and framed me for it. Sarah's hand touches my shoulder briefly. Taryn, I'll document everything. The evidence is clear. I nod, unable to speak. On my way out, I called Douglas Hammond, our family attorney since I was in pigtails. His gravelly voice warms when he recognizes me. Taryn, how's my favorite number cruncher? Not good, Doug. I need your help with something difficult. Back at the motel, I arranged the evidence in a black presentation folder. Bank statements, transaction records, security footage stills, signature comparisons. The pieces of betrayal organized with professional precision. In the bathroom mirror, I study my reflection as I button a fresh blouse. My eyes are clearer now, focused. I straighten my shoulders and practice what I'll say when I face my family again. Before leaving, I remove my credit cards from my wallet and lock them in the room safe. This confrontation isn't about money. It never was. It's about truth, and I'm bringing it home. A week later, I arrive at my childhood home unannounced, parking across the street rather than in the driveway. The golden afternoon sun stretches my shadow long across the familiar brick path. This visit carries none of the warmth of Thanksgiving, only the weight of truth in the black presentation folder tucked under my arm. The wooden steps of the porch creak in the same spots they have since I was 10. My knuckles rap against the door with the confidence of someone who no longer needs permission to enter this space. Mom opens the door, surprise flashing across her face. Her hand flies to her throat, fingers trembling against the collar of her floral blouse. Taryn, her voice catches. I didn't expect. We need to talk. I step past her into the foyer without waiting for an invitation. The scent of lemon furniture polish and cinnamon potpourri wraps around me, the smell of home now tainted with betrayal. Mom follows, her slippers whispering against the hardwood. Your father isn't here. He's at the hardware store. Good. Call Marla and Corbin. I place the folder on the kitchen island, the black leather stark against the beige granite. Family meeting. Now. Her eyes dart to the folder, then back to my face. What is this about? The $62,000. Mom's cheeks flush pink as she reaches for her phone. Her fingers hover over the screen. Are you sure this is necessary? Absolutely certain. While she texts my siblings, I set up my laptop on the dining room table. The projector I borrowed from work hums to life, casting a white rectangle on the wall where family photos once hung. The empty nail holes stare back at me like accusatory eyes. 20 minutes pass before the front door opens. Marla enters first, her designer purse swinging from her elbow. The confidence in her stride falters when she sees me. What's she doing here? Marla asks Mom as if I'm not standing 5 feet away. Corbin follows, hands shoved in his pockets. His casual posture doesn't match the wariness in his eyes. Have a seat. I gesture to the kitchen island. All of you. They exchange glances but comply, gathering around the counter like strangers at a bus stop connected by circumstance but maintaining careful distance. I open the folder with steady hands. The bank statements emerge first, arranged chronologically with relevant transactions highlighted in yellow. 5 weeks ago, I helped Mom set up online banking. My voice remains even, professional. 3 days later, the first withdrawal occurred for $20,000. I slide the statement toward them. The second one is 15,000. And finally, the third one, 27,000. Mom stares at the papers, her reading glasses perched on her nose. I don't understand what you're showing us, Taryn. Evidence. I tap the paper. These transactions weren't made online. They were in-person withdrawals, requiring photo ID and a signature matching the one on file. Marla's fingers drum against the countertop. So what? Mom could have gone to the bank. Except she didn't. I turn to my laptop and click to the first image. On the dining room wall appears a still from security footage. Marla at the teller window, oversized sunglasses pushed back on her head, signing a withdrawal slip. The timestamp matches the first transaction. No one breathes. I click again. Another still Marla at the same bank, different outfit 2 days later. Click. Corbin smiling at a different teller, his signature flowing across the withdrawal slip for the final 22,000. The room fills with a silence so complete I hear the refrigerator's gentle hum. Mom's face drains of color as she looks from the wall to her younger children. You did this? Her question comes out barely above a whisper. Marla's eyes fill with tears, genuine ones this time, but her chin lifts in defiance. You gave her your banking password. She showed you how to check balances online. Did she mention she makes 6 figures while I can barely make rent? That doesn't explain why you stole from our mother, I say. Borrowed. Corbin corrects, leaning back in his chair with forced casualness. We were going to pay it back. With what money? The question hangs in the air between us. Marla's tears spill over. You always get everything, Taryn. The good grades, the fancy job, Mom and Dad's approval. I just wanted to level the field. You didn't level the field. You set it on fire. My words cut through her excuses. And you let them believe I was the thief. Corbin shrugs. She makes more than all of us combined. She'll bounce back. The dismissive gesture ignites something primal inside me. My palms press flat against the cool granite to keep from shaking. That money was Mom's retirement fund. Not mine, not yours. Mom stands suddenly, her chair scraping against the floor. You let me believe my daughter stole from me. She looks at Marla and Corbin, then turns to me with horror dawning in her eyes. And I didn't even ask if it was true. The front door opens and Dad steps into the kitchen carrying a paper bag from Miller's Hardware. He freezes at the scene before him, the bank statements, the projection of Marla and Corbin on the wall, Mom's tears. What's happening here? His voice lacks the authority it carried on Thanksgiving. The truth. I close the folder with deliberate precision. Your children stole from Mom's retirement account, and I have the evidence to prove it. Dad's eyes move from the folder to the wall, where Corbin's face still smiles from the bank security footage. The hardware store bag slips from his fingers, hitting the floor with a metallic clatter. Is this true? He asks, but his question isn't directed at me. Marla wipes her tears with the back of her hand. We were going to replace it. With what? Mom asks, her voice stronger now. The money you don't have from the jobs you can't keep? Dad sinks into a chair, certainty crumbling from his face like old plaster. I stand taller among the ruins of family trust. My professional demeanor remains intact despite the emotional hurricane swirling around me. I've spoken with Douglas Hammond about how to proceed. You're pressing charges? Marla's voice rises with panic. Against your own family? I'm not pressing anything. The calmness in my voice surprises even me. The evidence has been documented with the family attorney. What happens next is between you and Mom and Dad. I disconnect the projector and close my laptop. The wall returns to blank white, empty of both evidence and family photos. Dad. I turn to him, meeting his eyes directly for the first time since Thanksgiving. You told me not to come back unless I return the money. My spine straightens with each word. I didn't take the money, but I brought the truth. I walk toward the door, my footsteps echoing in the silence. No one moves to stop me. No one speaks. On the porch, I pause to breathe in the late afternoon air. Behind me, through the partially open door, I hear Mom's voice rise with a clarity I've never heard before. How could you do this to your sister? To me? I don't wait for their answer. Some questions aren't meant for me anymore. That night, after getting home, my apartment greets me with silence as I slip off my heels inside the door. The clean lines of my minimalist furniture stand in stark contrast to my childhood home, with its overstuffed chairs and decades of accumulated knickknacks. Here, everything has a purpose, a place, including me. I run my fingers along the kitchen counter spotless, No ceramic roosters watching my movements, no lingering scent of cinnamon and apples. My throat tightens as I pour a glass of water, the soft gurgle of liquid against glass the only sound in the room. The corner of a manila folder peeks out from my beige vidance I no longer need to present. The folder that changed everything. I slide it into my desk drawer, next to the neatly arranged tax documents and investment statements. Orderly. Controlled. Unlike the mess I left behind in Cedar Falls. Monday arrives with blessed normality. At the firm, my colleagues nod respectfully as I pass their offices. Sarah Winters stops by my door with coffee. "Heard you crack that Pineway Bank case," she says, placing a steaming mug on my desk. "Impressive work." She doesn't know the victims were my parents. Doesn't know the perpetrators were my siblings. Here, I'm just Taryn Denham, the accountant who traces money through the labyrinth of deceit and brings clarity to chaos. "Thanks," I say, wrapping my fingers around the warm ceramic. "Just following the numbers." The numbers never lie. People do. My phone buzzes. Jennifer, my cousin from my father's side. I let it go to voicemail. Later, alone in the break room, I listen to her careful message. "Just checking in. Your mom mentioned you might not be coming to Christmas this year. Marla moved to Denver. Corbin's staying with friends. I thought maybe we could get lunch when I'm in Minneapolis next month." The ripples spread outward. Family fracturing along fault lines that were there all along, just waiting for pressure to crack them open. I delete the message. That night, I stay late at the office. The cleaning staff knows me by name now. Rosa offers me half of her homemade tamale, wrapped in foil and still warm. I accept with a gratitude that surprises us both. "Family recipe," she says with pride. "My grandmother taught my mother taught me." I nod, not trusting my voice. Some family legacies are worth passing down. Others, like suspicion and blind accusation, should die with this generation. The envelope arrives on Thursday. Cream-colored stationery with my mother's distinctive handwriting slanting across the front. I hold it, feeling the weight of whatever lies inside. My address is written with the careful precision she uses for important documents. No return address, though I know exactly where it came from. The envelope sits untouched on my coffee table through dinner, through the evening news, through the single glass of Cabernet I allow myself on weeknights. Finally, as midnight approaches, I slide my finger beneath the seal. Inside, a photograph. The three of us, Marla, Corbin, and Meat Lake Okoboji, summer of 1998. Marla's hair in pigtails, Corbin missing his front teeth, me with sunburned shoulders and a serious expression as I studied the canoe for my siblings. Before college tuitions and career paths. Before retirement accounts and betrayal. On the back, in my mother's careful script, "We didn't realize how much we'd miss you until you were gone." I place the photo face down on my desk. Tears come then, silent but persistent. Not for what I lost, but for what was never really there. Saturday morning, I stand before 15 strangers in a fluorescent-lit community college classroom. My PowerPoint slide reads, "Financial protection for older adults." Elder financial abuse often comes from those closest to the victim. I tell them, my voice steady. Family members account for 57% of perpetrators. I don't share that I've become part of that statistic. I don't tell them how my mother's trust was weaponized, how my siblings' envy festered into theft. These people came for protection, not confession. An older woman approaches after class, her silver hair neatly styled, her handbag clutched close to her body. "I wish I had a daughter like you," she says, her eyes crinkling with sincerity. "Someone who understands these things." "So did Mignon say." I smile, shaking her hand warmly. The most important thing is to ask questions, trust but verify. Back home, I take down the family photo that's hung on my wall since I moved in. In its place, I hang my accounting license and fraud investigator certification, the glass frames catching the afternoon light. Family is supposed to be the one place where you're accepted without having to prove your worth, where trust is given, not continually earned. I run my fingers over the embossed lettering of my name on the certificate. Some bonds remain unbroken, the ones I've built with myself. A year later, fallen leaves crunch beneath my boots as I walk back to my apartment from the community center. The sun hangs low in the November sky, painting Minneapolis in amber hues not unlike Cedar Falls this time last year. My fingers still smell of turkey and cranberry sauce, remnants of 4 hours serving meals to strangers who became something more. You coming back next week, Taryn? Jorge had asked as I untied my apron. His weathered face, a map of 70 years lived fully, had brightened when I nodded. Wouldn't miss it, I'd replied, meaning it. A year since the confrontation. A year of rebuilding a life without the scaffolding of family. The emptiness stings less now, filled gradually with new connections. Jorge at the community kitchen, my Thursday night financial literacy students, Sarah from work who transitioned from colleague to friend over countless coffee breaks. I turn the corner onto my street and stop. A figure sits hunched on the bench outside my apartment building. Something about the slope of those shoulders freezes me mid-step. Mom. She hasn't noticed me yet. Her attention fixes on an aluminum foil-covered plate balanced on her lap. Even from this distance, I recognize the crimped edges of her pie dish. My stomach tightens. I could turn around, walk another block, give myself time to prepare. But I've spent 6 months standing firm in my truth. I won't start hiding now. Her head lifts as I approach. The streetlights illuminate new lines around her eyes, new gray threading through her hair. She looks smaller somehow, diminished, as if the weight of consequences has compressed her. Taryn. Her voice cracks on my name. Mom. Mine stays steady. Silence stretches between us, tangled with things unsaid. A gust of wind rattles dead leaves across the sidewalk. I made your favorite. She lifts the pie slightly. Apple with extra cinnamon. Just like the one that sat untouched on the counter last Thanksgiving while my family accused me of theft. The symmetry isn't lost on me. Do you want to come up? I ask, my keys already in hand. Not forgiveness, but not rejection either. Her relief is palpable. Yes. My apartment feels smaller with her in it. She stands awkwardly in the entryway, taking in the space where she's never been invited before. Her gaze lingers on my bookshelf, counting texts mixed with mystery novels, then drifts to the wall where my professional certifications hang, where family photos might be. It's nice, she offers. Very you. I take the pie, setting it on the kitchen counter untouched. Tea? She nods, perching on the edge of my sofa as if afraid to settle in fully. Minutes later, we sit across from each other, steaming mugs between us. The pie remains on the counter, a symbol neither of us is ready to cut into. I owe you an apology, she begins, her fingers twisting in her lap. I should have asked you, should have trusted you. I don't rush to ease her discomfort. Yes, you should have. Her eyes fill. I've thought about it every day. How quickly I believed the worst. How I sat there silent while Gerald accused you. Dad. I correct automatically. Gerald, she repeats firmly. He moved out 3 months ago. The news lands like a stone in still water. What happened? Everything fell apart after you left. She sips her tea, wincing at the heat. Marla went to Denver. Won't take my calls. Corbin. She pauses. The bank pressed charges. We found out about other things he'd done. Money from his workplace. A loan in your father's name. Each revelation should satisfy some part of me that craved vindication. Instead, they just feel heavy. And Gerald couldn't accept his part in it, she continues. Kept saying if you'd just explained yourself that day instead of walking out. I shouldn't have needed to explain myself. The words come out sharper than intended. No, she agrees, surprising me. You shouldn't have. That's what my therapist helped me understand. You're seeing a therapist? Twice a week since February. A ghost of a smile touches her lips. She says I spent 40 years letting your father decide what was true. Learning to trust my own judgment has been difficult. I study her, this woman I thought I knew. The mother who taught me to bake, to balance a checkbook, to stand up for myself, yet who didn't stand up for me when it mattered most. If we're going to have any relationship moving forward, I say carefully, I need complete honesty, no manipulation, respect for my boundaries, professional and personal. She nods, her eyes never leaving mine. I'm not promising forgiveness, not yet. My voice remains level. Trust rebuilds slowly, if at all. I understand. She reaches for her tea, her wedding ring conspicuously absent. I'm not asking for what I haven't earned. Outside, darkness has fully settled. Through my window, Minneapolis glitters with distant lights, a constellation of lives intersecting but separate, like us now. Why this week, I ask? Why come now? Her eyes drift to the calendar hanging beside my refrigerator, the date circled in red. Thanksgiving, 3 days away. Because last year I lost more than money, she answers. And I wanted you to know that before another holiday passed. The truth of it sits between us, simple and profound. Some thieves take cash, others steal trust. The second is harder to recover. The pie remains uncut on my counter as we talk into the night, not as the family we were, but as the two people we might become. The autumn light filters through my apartment windows, casting golden patterns across the polished hardwood floor. 2 years have passed since the Thanksgiving that shattered my world. The calendar on my wall shows today's circled date me 36th birthday, with a simplicity that belies its significance. I adjust the framed certificate on my wall, the one announcing the expansion of my financial literacy program to 4 community colleges across Minnesota. My fingers linger on the glass, tracing the embossed letters of my name. The woman who received this award stands taller than the one who drove away from her family home last year, apple pie untouched on the counter. The doorbell chimes. Sarah arrives first, arms laden with wine and a small wrapped package. The guest of honor shouldn't be answering her own door, she scolds, brushing past me with the comfortable familiarity of true friendship. Her presence in my life, a colleague turned confidant, remains one of the unexpected gifts born from last year's betrayal. The apartment fills gradually. Professor Winters from the community college, 2 neighbors from down the hall, my manager, whose quiet support never wavered during those dark weeks of investigation. Each person represents a chosen connection, relationships built on actions rather than obligation. When Mom arrives, she waits at the threshold until I wave her in. Her caution speaks volumes. The boundaries we've established remain respected. She places a small plant on my side table, not presuming to bring anything that demands permanent space in my home. "Happy birthday, Taryn," she says, her voice soft but steady. The therapy she's committed to shows in her posture, in the way she holds my gaze without the flicker of avoidance that marked our early reunions. "Thank you for coming." My words are simple but genuine. We've learned that honesty doesn't require eloquence. The evening unfolds with quiet laughter and conversations that flow without the undercurrents of unspoken resentments. No one here carries hidden agendas. The apartment feels lighter for it. Later, I stand in my kitchen slicing an apple pie. My hands move with steady precision, a contrast to the trembling fingers that once clutched car keys outside my childhood home. The scent of cinnamon and nutmeg rises, reclaiming memories I once thought poisoned beyond recovery. "Need help?" Mom appears beside me, careful to maintain the invisible buffer we both recognize. "You could grab plates." I slide the knife through golden crust, creating clean lines rather than jagged breaks. She nods, reaching for the cabinet where I keep dessert plates. She knows where things belong in my space, now knowledge earned through cautious visits, not assumed by right of relation. The newspaper clipping on my refrigerator catches her eye. "Local accountant helps seniors fight fraud." The headline announces above a photo of me speaking to a community group. The irony doesn't escape either of us. My personal wound transformed into protection for others. "I saw Marla's email," Mom says, arranging plates in a neat stack. "Have you decided whether to answer?" I consider the question as I place perfect triangles of pie onto waiting plates. My sister's tentative message arrived yesterday, the first contact in months. Unlike Corbin, whose absence I've accepted as necessary, Marla's reach toward reconciliation waits in digital limbo. I haven't decided yet. The truth requires no embellishment. Some bridges need time. Mom nods, understanding settling between us. The Christmas card from Dad sits unopened in my desk drawer, another boundary maintained. Sarah calls from the living room, summoning us back to the gathering. I carry the pie to my assembled guests, this circle of people who've earned their places in my life. The conversations waiting for me hold no hidden accusations, no calculated tears. Later, I stand at my window overlooking the Minneapolis skyline. Night has fallen, transforming the glass into a mirror. My reflection stares back, superimposed over city lights. On my bookshelf, the family photo Mom gave me last spring sits among other images, friends, colleagues, students whose lives I've touched. No single relationship dominates the collection. My phone vibrates. Mom's name appears on the screen. I pause, breathe, then answer. "Hello, Mom." Some foundations, I've learned, can be rebuilt stone by stone. Others must be abandoned for new ground. The strength lies not in choosing one path universally, but in knowing which path serves truth. The woman in the window glass smiles back at me, her eyes clear with hard-won wisdom.